I found a West Australian down here, boys, Nick Martin. Mate, enjoying your footy. Great win in the end. I mean, you guys were challenged, and to get up, you must be happy.
Oh, it is a good win, and we know how tough an environment Optus Stadium is, especially against the Eagles. So, mate, we expected a tough battle. We knew they were going to throw a punch, especially after last week's performance. So, mate, really pleased with the result.
And I spoke to Peter about your coach, Brad Scott. What was the messaging? I mean, you're in the leadership group. What was the messaging to some of the senior players? Because you didn't start how you would have liked, but you were able to bounce back.
Yeah, and it was keep coming back to sort of contest and defence first and foremost. Probably, well, I say probably, we did get a bit of ahead of ourselves. I think getting ahead of the footy just didn't play to our brand. So just coming back to our process, our brand, and I think we persevered.
Where's your role at the moment, mate? Forward, I like you as a backman. Where are you playing your best footy? You had a great game today.
A bit of wing, bit of half forward, so I love the flexibility to go between the positions. Tonight was mostly half forward, but sort of really enjoying flexibility.
Zach Merritt probably down a little bit on such an amazing couple of years he's had tonight, but what's he like as a leader inside when you're getting challenged like that on a pretty hostile ground here? Does he get more vocal out there?
Not necessarily. He remains the exact same, which is a great attribute to having a leader when you're challenged to not go insular or do the opposite and try to do everything himself, which he would admit he'd probably been a culprit of previously, but he sort of trusted the group to play our role and get the job done. But, he just tried to lead by example, I think, in that second half. And, for a down game for Merritt, he probably still had 25 odd.
And we also have the very happy Andy McGrath. Relief, I think, is the word you just used then.
Yeah, absolutely. West Coast came out really strong tonight, and they played some really good footy, and we had to respond and just peg away as the quarters went on, and fortunately enough, we ended up 2 points in front. But it was a really good effort by them, and an even better effort for us to come over the top.
You were on top all night, really, in the clearance battle, but you just weren't able to really, I guess, put the scoreboard pressure on, particularly in that first half. You started to get going in the back end of that third quarter, though. What was the message? Looked like at halftime, forward handball, keep the ball moving, keep the ball rolling, and then you'll be able to break them in the end.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like that. All our key metrics were looking okay. Other than the scoreboard, we try and sort of disconnect from that as best we can. But you feel it over here in Perth with the crowd, and they're very passionate and they do very well for their boys. But yeah, we felt like the game looked pretty good. We knew it was going to take all 4 quarters, and it did in the end, and they fought back pretty hard at the end as well.
Mate, you're the second youngest side in the comp this weekend, West Coast being the youngest. Who's driving that comeback from a senior point of view?
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way. I feel like we've got a good core group of guys between sort of 21 and 27. I think Zach's our second oldest player, but he still feels pretty young. I think he still wants to play for a lot longer. But it's a good energy around the footy club. Everyone comes in, wants to get better. Everyone's sort of in that phase of their career where they really want to work and drive standards. And I think of guys like Sammy Durham, Archie Roberts, guys who have just taken their game to another level and haven't played a heap of footy, but we're just enjoying working hard together, pushing each other, and getting results like tonight, build the trust.
Talk us through your one-on-ones with Jamie Cripps, because at one stage we talked about it was a bit Wayne Carey / Glenn Jakovic. Like it was a genuine one-on-one battle in around the ball, and you found yourselves in some aerial contests, which potentially for someone your size you don't necessarily find yourself in. It was a great battle.
Yeah, it was. We knew the West Coast forwards separate pretty well. They genuinely isolate you as defenders, and we prepared for that. A few came my way, and I've had a few matchups with Jamie over the years. He's a quality player, and he's got great craft and very good footy smart, so I knew I had to be on. But I love those moments. I love defending. I love one-on-ones. Sort of shows what you're made of out there, and it was a bit of fun in that little patch in the third.
We've seen some vision of Sam Draper down here in the rooms. I'm not sure if you had time to go and see him. It looks like an Achilles. Any update?
No, we haven't seen Drapes yet. It didn't look too good as he was jogging off. Yeah, we'll wait and see, I guess, but it never looks good when he's helped off by the trainers, but fingers crossed for the big fella. We need him. He's a super important part of our team. 6 goals to Peter Wright. I know you're a good backman, and we like backman a lot, but must be happy with his game. That was impressive. No, absolutely. I think Pete's been challenged pretty firmly. Started the year with injury and a little bit of his form stuff, but to come out tonight and kick 6 goals and just act like he's never left was awesome for Pete, and we're so happy for him, and he's the spearhead of our forward line. Did you
we just saw some footage about Sam Draper at 3/4 time, talking to the doctors or the physios. As a player, did you know what was going on at 3/4 time?
You don't have too much of an awareness. Normally, if the guy's in your line, you can kind of get a gist for it. But we knew we didn't have any rotations in the fourth. We sort of looked to come off a few times, but there was no substitute. But it's pretty hard to get a read on it. But we'll find out in a few minutes, I guess, how he's going.
Friday night footy, you get a bit of a rest, a bit of an extended break, being over here in Perth. So how was the trip away? A young group. You must like getting on the road with the boys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. 2 in a row, which is rare for a Melbourne team. But we've really enjoyed it. Like I said, the guys have great energy, and I feel like a bit of a veteran now around some of the language and I guess the slang that the boys use. It's sort of a bit too young for me, but guys like Benny Hobbs really drive these things, and it's a lot of fun and good connection for the group.
So what do you do? Are you up the back just sort of chuckling along like a bit of an old boy? Like what sort of operation are you running? Is the boys speaking, you don't understand what they're saying?
A little bit, yeah. They're playing games that I don't have on my phone anymore, but you try and fit in best you can, but they're an awesome group. They keep us all very young.
Let's have a look at some of the big moments in the last quarter, because there were some huge ones that your team very much stood up in this last quarter. Dylan Shill is over next to us. He played really well, but this one in particular, Elijah Hewitt, he's a powerful young midfielder.
Yeah, I really like the way he goes about it. He's got speed and power like not many others, and he can really break the game open when he gets going forward. I've loved watching him from afar. Obviously don't know him too well being over in Melbourne, but he goes about it really well.
So when this happened, so Williams kicks the goal, you can see the wingers starting to go defensive. What's the message in the back line when this happens?
Yeah, I think every team has their structure. I won't give away too much about what we're trying to do, but essentially the defenders defend. We practice this scenario time and time again, and we feel really confident that it works, and have a few ideas about what the Oppo do in response to what we do, but it was really pleasing to execute it properly. You never know how those things go, but Nick Martin took a great mark here, and we sort of knew we had it then. Well,
that centre clearance is gold, and you don't have to give it away, but I know for a fact that's where you're kicking it. You're kicking it diagonally, outside, you want space, you don't want to go out on the bounce, insufficient intent. I mean, your midfield today were outstanding. They had complete dominance at the clearance. You must be stoked playing in behind them as a back line.
Yeah, when they're up and going like they were tonight, it makes the defending really easy. There's pressure on the ball. They're surging the ball our way, and we can set the ground up behind it. So that clearance from Duz was perfect, and we'll go again next week at a big clash.
It was a big clash. Well done. That was fantastic. You enjoy Anzac Day, but congratulations. It's not a very brave effort, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Very good from Andy. Nice to hear exactly what he had to say post-game. Let's have a look at Peter Wright's efforts, because we spoke about it. The KFC FLG MVP of the night, the fan favourite, of course, was Peter Wright. He was outstanding, and I think Scully, yes, he kicked the 6 goals, but it was his effort to lead and present, particularly when it wasn't on the Bombers' term, that was most impressive.
Yeah, well, that's what I liked about his game. It was the second quarter when they were down. You're on hostile ground. You've had the big trip across, and you haven't started how you want to start. So for him to come out, take some contested marks, I thought he was clearly 6 goals all over Harry Edwards all night tonight. And I watched him in the last quarter, and he was cooked. He was absolutely cooked. He ran himself into the ground. We know he's just back into the team this week, but he just worked so hard. And in that last quarter, McGovern was moved on to him, and he was showing him how to do it as well. And
a smart kick that one wasn't from Shield, just clever late in the game, composure to hit that one. He was huge.
Yeah, I thought Shield was great. Even that run late through the middle of the ground. Some lights have gone off in here. It feels like a nightclub. We're not here yet. Friday night. I thought his game was very good, Dylan Shield. I thought his run and carry and the way he moved. I thought Nick Martin was very good as well. And their backline probably held up pretty well. In the end, they win the game, but it's 77-75. So they haven't let too many goals in, have they?
No, defensively, particularly after quarter time, they got to work. And I think the Bombers would be very, very pleased with that effort. A positive for West Coast was their pressure, was their intent, was their effort. And a player up forward in particular who got to work early, Jake Waterman. He was a star and set the game alight.
Yeah, well, he did. This is the start that West Coast really needed. I mean, if they don't go and do this to start this game, they can get away very quickly. But as a senior player, he's in the leadership group now, Jake Waterman, and we've seen him speak in the media this week. We heard from Andrew McWalter at halftime saying the senior players had met and they wanted a response. We need to go and do it. Yeah. And he did, and they don't win. Look, I don't know if deserve it or not, but the West Coast players had a standing ovation coming off the ground from some fans. They like the effort.
But you can lose and actually take a lot of steps forward in this game, and conversely, you can win and go backwards. And I think what they did tonight, West Coast, was take some huge step forward. They just haven't been competitive across the first few weeks, and tonight they were impressive.
Well, you got to remember the captain, Oscar Allen, isn't out there, right? So he's managed, which I'm sure we probably need some definitions being pushed across as to what that actually means. But, Jake Waterman with Archer Reid, with Jack Williams, it's a young and different-looking forward line, but I thought they competed really well throughout. They were touched up in the midfield. You got to remember as well that you were all over that at three-quarter time. So, the ability to get it in and battle, I thought that was, and their effort was probably the real positive for West Coast.
Their effort was fantastic, and their pressure was elite. And we haven't seen this again. They're ranked 18th for pressure across the first 4 or 5 rounds for the year, but they were fantastic. And this was the type of thing that I think for the 45,000 fans that were coming here tonight, Scully, all they wanted was effort and pressure, and they got it in spades from the West Coast.
They got it. They absolutely did. And the man right next to us may know a couple of things about it as well, Pav. That pressure that was brought in and it wasn't there. It hasn't been there all year for West Coast. So I don't know if the boys at Bomberland were expecting it, but certainly it was evident in that first part of play.